Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the Thursday Night Football Showdown side between the New York Giants and the Washington football team. I almost said the Redskins, Washington football team. We have another millionaire maker up top. So super excited we're getting milli makers basically every single Showdown slate, it seems, this year. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you're unable to watch these videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, offer that on patreon.com. Also, link down below. NFL package, again, we're covering every single Showdown slate, all the main slates as well. I'll also offer an esports package, an NBA package, which will be starting up soon. And then I do want to thank today's sponsor, Prize Picks. So if you guys are not familiar with Prize Picks, a few different ways you can play for NFL. Number one is you take over/under on fantasy points. So Prize Picks right now is, 11 players posted for Thursday. And again, you can either take over/under on fantasy points, or if you'd rather go to passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, receptions, touchdowns, you can do that as well. I like it. It's a nice change of pace from DraftKings because you're not playing against someone, you're just playing against the house. So if you guys want to give it a try, sign up using my code DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word. I will also have a link down below. You get a 100% match up to $100. So you deposit using my code, $100. You get a free $100 to play with. And finally, I want to thank you guys again for all of your continued support on the NFL content. Really do appreciate each and every one of you. If you could, leave a like button on the video. Let's try to aim for 100 likes on this one. Subscribe if you haven't already. Again, closing in on that 10K mark. And hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos and you know live. I'll be doing live streams every single Showdown slate, also before the main slate as well. So make sure to check it out. Do more of the Q&A style, answering any questions you guys have. All right, so before we get into players and the prices for the Thursday Night Football Showdown slate, let's look back lineup here from Monday Night slate. So Monday night, that was the winning lineup. Here's my lineup. Missing GPPs, but I was taking a massive risk with a guy like Josh Oliver. I talked about this, that I was willing to roll the dice. In Showdown slates, I played really concerned. I usually leave a lot of salary on the table, or I take shots on guys like Josh Oliver, who are not going to play a ton, and just hope they can get a touchdown pass. No, he did. He had one target in the end zone. It was a little bit overthrown, but I was like, oh man, that would have been phenomenal if he caught that. But yeah, that was a risk I took. It didn't work out, but again, I was more than willing to take that risk. And I went over what I kind of thought was the optimal build, which was Lamar, Waller, Carr, Renfro, and the two kickers, which a couple people used, and that did really, really well. Again, I want Ruggs and Oliver because I was getting willing to take the risk there. But yeah, that's it for the look back of my lineup. And we had more big winners in the Discord. I'd say majority of people that played the show on slate cashed. Cody, again, coming within half a point of the top prize, 100 or whatever it was, whatever he would have split it with. But yeah, really, really close. So congrats to all the big winners on the Monday Night Show. So let's go over the winning lineup. This is in the luxury box. Now, one thing I will say for anyone that cares is Oliver was only 3% in the Milli Maker, but in the luxury box, which is I think it was a $2,000 entry in this one. I think it's $3,000 entry in the on the main slate. Josh Oliver is 13%, so he was over 4 times more owned in the higher stakes stuff than in just the Milli Maker. But yeah, this is the winning lineup. So they ended up going Hunter Renfro in the captain. I actually talked about that in Patreon, how you could go Renfro in the captain and kind of team jam them in. And that's what won, at least in the luxury box. So Renfro in the captain with Lamar, who 95% in the luxury box. But if you saw the Milli Maker, Lamar was not in the winning lineup. Absolutely insane. But just goes to show, right? There's so much variance involved that if you have a strong stance like that, everyone in the industry is oh, play Lamar. Everyone's play Lamar on the captain. And he wasn't even in the winning lineup. So again, you can take stance in these showdown slates. Waller, Carr, Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins filling out the rest of my lineup, or filling out the rest of their lineup in the winning lineup. The one prize pick I gave out in live stream actually, unfortunately, didn't hit. It was the under on Sammy Watkins. He had that catch in overtime, I think, or maybe it was already over, but it was close. I think that catch in overtime might have boosted him over too. But yeah, that's really it for the look back, guys. Hope you had a good night, and let's talk about this Thursday night slate. So we had a great game Monday night, and now we get spoiled with Daniel Jones versus Taylor Heinicke. All right, so what I want to do here is, let's first take a look at the Vegas odds. So Vegas odds, a lower projected game for sure. 41 over under. Washington are 3-point favorites. So let's talk about the Giants first. And I guess before we get into the player-by-player breakdown, what I want to do is take a look at the snap counts from week 1. Definitely important to take a look at these. So looking at the running back situation, Saquon played about half the game, 48%. Devontae Booker, 39%. And Gary Brightwell got mixed in a little bit at 13%. Now, we knew Saquon wasn't going to be, they were going to take it easy in his workload week 1. We'll see if we get confirmation that week 2. My guess is the snaps go up a little bit, but by how much? So he's still I would say, riskier target on the Showdown slate. Wide receiver, so Sterling Shepard played almost the entire game, 95%. Kenny Galladay, 85%, and then Darius Slade, 70%. Not a big surprise, right? We know that those are the top 3 receivers. CJ Board got about 10%, and Tony, 8% of the snaps. Looking at tight ends, again, Evan Ingram is questionable. I'd say leaning more on the doubtful side. He's missed the last couple practices this week, so don't expect him to play. Rudolph filled in and played almost the entire game, 77%, and then Caden Smith played about half the game. So that's it for the Giants and the snap counts. So let's talk about players and the prices. We have Daniel Jones at 10-4. Not necessarily the best matchup, obviously, against his Washington defense, but I still think he's a safer option. I know he's not a great quarterback. I know he's prone to turnovers, but quarterbacks just in general on the Showdown sites are safe targets, right? And he does a little bit of rushing upset. Like Daniel Jones can go get you 20, 30 yards on the ground. He had, 6 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown last game, so he can provide that type of upside. Again, I don't love it, but I think he's a safe option in the slate. You can probably get away with fading one of these quarterbacks, though, because it's projected to be a lower scoring game. Now, as I mentioned, Saquon Barkley, he's limited in practice. They took it easy in his workload week 1. We'll see if that bumps up week 2. Hopefully get some sort of confirmation. But as it stands right now, I think he's a more contrarian play because played less than half the game. It's not a great matchup, and he's at 10K. And obviously, he's dealing still with a knee injury. So, Saquon, more of a risky, contrarian play. As far as the wide receivers, so we have Galladay at 8.2, Sterling Shepard at 8K, Slayton at 6.6. I will say Shepard's probably the safest option. He played the most. He's also going to play a decent amount out of the slot. Should get a solid amount of targets, had 9 targets last game. So, he's probably the safest. You have Galladay and Slayton that have a little more of that big play upside. Galladay's obviously a red zone threat. Now, he was also a little bit banged up going into week 1. He had 4 catches and 6 targets. And you have Darius Slayton who played the least of the 3, but still 70% of the snaps is fine. We know, again, we saw it last year. This guy's big play upside too, at 3 catches and 7 targets. So all 3 Giants firmly in play. Shepard probably the safest. But yeah, Galladay guy to look to in the red zone. Slayton has that big play upside as well. Going down to tight end, so yeah, I don't think Evan Ingram plays. Remains sidelined for Tuesday's walkthrough practice. DNPs, the first 2 for week 2, so it's not a good sign. Again, I don't think he plays. If he does end up playing, then we'll see news. He's gonna be limited, but yeah, as of right now, I don't think Evan Ingram plays. Now the defenses on normal Showdown sites, I avoid. Normally Showdown sites, higher scoring games. This one, 41 over under. So I think you can make the argument for defense. Now, what I'm going to be interested in is how popular are the defenses going to be? Because last year, when they were projected to be lower scoring games, we saw defenses get up to like 50% ownership, which is way too high for Showdown sites. So, I'll see if I get a good read on what I think the defense's ownership are going to be. But yeah, Giants D at 4-2 going up against a backup quarterback. They're definitely viable. Definitely viable, projected to be low-scoring game. So, for sure in play. But if I have a feeling they're going to be too popular, then, yeah, I'm going to look elsewhere. Kickers, as I always say, kickers are safe options, right? He's 3.6K, Graham Gano, perfectly fine with that. A couple of value plays I want to talk about here. So, Kyle Rudolph's at only a 3.2K. He is, their de facto number 1 tight end with Evan Ingram most likely out. He had 2 catches and 5 targets. I think he's a viable value play, right? He's going to play a majority of the game. Obviously, he's a little bit washed up in this point of his career. He's not the Kyle Rudolph he was at the beginning of his career, playing with Minnesota, but he's cheap. Should play a majority of the game. I think Kyle Rudolph's a fine value. And then Devontae Booker at 2.8K I also think is in play. Didn't have a great week 1, 4 carries, 7 yards, and 1 catch on 1 target. But if they're going to continue to limit Saquon Barkley, then I think Booker becomes, a viable punt play here as well. So a few guys that you can have some interest in. Probably not going to attend anyone else. I know Brightwell saw a couple snaps. He's a decent receiving back. He's only $600. These are just large field tournament plays, right? Like Brightwell, Board, Tony, even the backup tight end. Where is he? Caden Smith. These are all large field tournament plays, right? Caden Smith maybe plays about half the game, but he's not really a good receiving tight end. You have Tony Board that played 5-10% of snaps, and you have Brightwell that played just over 10%. So not saying it can't happen. Those guys can catch a touchdown, but not really guys I'm considering for my one lineup. I think it's, again, just large field tournament plays. All right, so moving on to Washington. So Washington, we have Taylor Heinicke at the top at 10.2K. Actually filled in pretty nicely when Fitzpatrick went down for 11 of 15 for 122 yards and a touchdown. Matchup a little bit easier in this side of the ball. Washington defense is definitely better than the Giants defense. So yeah, Taylor Heinicke, again, safer option. He's obviously not a super talented quarterback, but on the Showdown sites, the quarterbacks are always safe. Now, I definitely think you can get away with fading one quarterback in this one. Could you get away with fading both? I think it's possible, but I think you might need a situation where a lot of, it's a super low scoring game, or it's just all rushing touchdown score. That's the way I think that would work out, where neither quarterback's in the winning lineup. All right, let's take a look at the snap count for Washington. So at running back, we had Antonio Gibson play 65% of snaps. McKissick played 36%. Kind of what we expected. Gibson's going to be the early down back. It'll be a little bit involved in the pass game, and you're going to have McKissick out there for a lot of third down situations. As far as wide receivers go, so Terry McLaurin played the entire game. You had Duami Brown. Again, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, but he played 93% of snaps. And you had Adam Humphries played 60% more of their slot wide receiver. At tight end, Logan Thomas played 100% of snaps, and Ricky Seals-Jones only 18%. So back to Washington again. Gibson at 9.6. I think he's a safer option. I think I would feel more comfortable going to Gibson than I would Saquon Barkley. They're at a similar price, and I'm just more confident in Gibson's workload, right? He had 20 carries, he had 3 catches and 5 targets, while only playing 65% of snaps. So when he was out there, he was, getting very much involved. So yeah, Gibson I think is safer option. Now, you're going to see a lot of McKissick on third down situations, which, caps the upside a little bit on Gibson. But I still think he is one of the safer running back plays on the board. You have Terry McLaurin at 9K, also safe. I know he's playing with the backup quarterback, but he's going to be out there the entire time. I like the matchup a little bit better on this side of the ball. So, yeah, McLaurin's safe. I think Logan Thomas also safe. Right, these are two guys that literally did not come off the field. Logan Thomas is going to run a ton of routes. Only had 3 catches and 3 targets, but he's a red zone target. He's 7-4, and again, I like the matchup a little bit better in this side of the ball. So McLaurin, Thomas, Gibson. I think all 3 of the main guys for Washington here are pretty safe plays, even though, they're playing with a backup quarterback. Going down a little bit more, so this is what I'm curious in. How popular are the Washington football team defense going to be? Are they going to be 50%? If they're going to be 50% or 50% plus, I don't want them. If they're going to be 20%, 15%, then I have more interest in the Washington football team defense. This one's going to kind of come down to ownership and how popular I think they're going to be. But historically, when games are projected to be low scoring, it seems, when there's one kind of pretty solid defense, it seems like that defense always goes over-owned. So, again, curious to see what the ownership comes out with the Washington defense. Adam Humphries playing out of the slot, fine play. Would have wished he was a little bit cheaper. Again, he'll be out there more in passing down situations. He played 60% of snaps last game, had 2 catches and 2 targets, but a viable play. Again, would have wished, though, he was a little bit cheaper. Kicker, so yeah, no Pinerio. They have him as on the slate, but he's not on the roster. So Dustin Hopkins, safe target. As you know, kickers are always safer on the Showdown slate. And then J.D. McKissick's only 2.2K. So I think game log watchers are going to avoid him, which I think is kind of a mistake. I know he only had 1 carry on 8 targets and only 1 target, but again, he's going to be out there a lot on third down situations. He played, almost or over a third of the game, and Draftkings is full point PPR. And if you watched football last year, you saw some pretty big games out of J.D. McKissick. So yes, he didn't do much in week 1. That doesn't mean he's not going to do anything in week 2, right? People always overreact. That's what I talked about in my main slate video. People overreact to 1 week. They're going to see the McKissick numbers and completely avoid them. I think it's a mistake. I think McKissick is one of the better values in the slate. So, yes, I do like him a decent amount. And then, yeah, Dyami Brown, I think that's your pronounced name, Dyami Brown. He played almost the entire game, too, as a number 2 wide receiver. Once Curtis Samuel went down, he had to step up. So, yeah, if you go back and look at it, he played 93% of the snaps. Now, he didn't do much with him. 1 catch on 4 targets for -2 yards. But he's going to be out there majority of the game, most likely. He's 1.4K. So you have a couple Washington Valley guys that look pretty good here. McKissick not going to play that much, but probably get some dump-offs out of the backfield. And you have De'Ami Brown, who's going to play almost the entire game and is like close to min price. So I think there's definitely some misprices here on the Washington side. Those two guys look pretty solid. And then that's really it. Again, really anything other than or anything below those guys are just large field dart throws. Like, yes, Ricky Seals-Jones, maybe he plays about a fifth of the game. You can hope he catches a touchdown, I guess. 3 other receivers played, but they played 2 snaps, so I'm not really looking there. And Patterson played 4 snaps. So if you want to take a dart on one of those guys that you think might get a couple snaps and hope they score a touchdown large field tournaments, sure, you're going to get them super low ownership, but probably not going to be the direction that I go on the Showdown slate. But yeah, guys, that's really going to wrap it up. So if you have been enjoying the content this far, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos and you know when I go live. Again, I will be live Thursday doing a general Q&A, so make sure to check out the live stream, guys. Very, very important. Thanks again. Have a great night, and I will see you all on Thursday in the live stream.